Free Spirit has been around now for 3 years, and we started to help people really see the positiveness and the possibility of being able to be who they are and succeed. And Erin actually talked about transparency a little bit, and she's a very transparent individual, just as Guinea and I are. I mean, what you see is what you get. I had an interview last week from a gentleman, and he said, why do you think you're successful at what you do and are still happy? And one of my answers is because I am who I am. You get the person that you see, no matter where you are. So we welcome you to Unleash Your Free Spirit. We are so blessed today to have our guest speaker. And before she starts talking, I just want to tell a little bit about Erin Saxton. She is such a wonderful person. When I called her out of the blue, I don't think, Erin, I talked to you for a couple of years probably. And I said, Erin, do you think you could? And she said, absolutely, I'll be there. And that's one of the kinds of person she is. She is such a good person. She wants to help people. But one thing you may not know about Erin is that she was been nominated for so many Emmy Awards. She is a well-known producer. She worked on The View. She worked with Barbara Walters, and she now works in marketing to help clients achieve their dreams. She can ask the best questions. And so she's going to tell us a little bit about herself and challenge that she had as she was going through her success. And, it's not often that we get to have a producer in our midst. So welcome, Erin Saxton. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you. First of all, you're both are lovely to have me. And of course I would say yes. Okay. So basically I'm not always comfortable in my skin. I pretended that I am. And if you look at my Facebook post, you would think that I am. But what I'm daring people to realize is that in between the posts could be some pretty dark moments, right? I'm in the middle of writing a book about my 100-pound weight loss journey that I lost for the second time. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today with you. I'm going to talk about business. And it goes all the way back to when I was 20 years old. And I was at East Stroudsburg University, and I got an opportunity through a friend of the family for an interview, for an internship. Lesson number 1, ask questions. As I didn't ask questions. So I show up to this interview, and the room is packed with people that look just like me, my age, my whatever, you know what I mean? Like they have suitcases. Like, I'm like, people flew here. Right. So I asked my first question a little late, and I said, how many, is there like a parade or something? And they said, oh no, this is all for internship. And I said, asked my second smart question, how many openings are there? And she said, there's 25. And I see way more than 25. I said, all right, I'm going to ask my third question, which I obviously should have asked like a million seconds before. How many applicants? She said, over 200. So, that jolt you get when you're in the moment, or you have that dream that like you didn't go to history class all year and you have to then take the final exam. I was living that, but I automatically had this moment of, oh, game on. Because I believed in myself enough. I struggle with weight and things in my personal life, but for whatever reason, my career, rock solid. I don't know why. I'm going to knock on wood because I really don't feel like jinxing that. So I just went game on. And the interview was 6 hours long. And I stayed true to who I was. And I interviewed with 6 different department heads, and I waited and I waited and I played the game, and I stayed in integrity, and I wanted to make sure it was a good fit, not only for me, but really for them, because I'm a big people pleaser. I'm a therapist dream, by the way. So basically, I went through each interview with each department head. So that was 6 departments, 6 hours, a long time for an internship, not paid, by the way. So basically, I then went back to school and I waited and I waited, but I slept well at night. And that's kind of the gist of what I want to really get across to all of you, is that you need to know who you are in business. You need to know what you're not going to do for clients, what clients you're willing to turn down, what business you're willing to take because you know you need a little extra money in your bank account. So I waited and waited and waited, and I got one of the slots. I thought that was my big, bodacious, oh my gosh, goal. It just started, and I've been sprinting ever since. So I started at Good Morning America, and then Barbara Walters had an opening for her production company, and it was a small 8-person shop. And I stayed there for many years, worked up the ranks, left there to go to Rosie, again, staying true. There are times along the way where I didn't feel comfortable in my skin, even for business. And that's when I go into a little that's when you'll see me a little white and pale and, and I know that I need to shift. So then I leave, and then I'll refocus and I'll come back out stronger. And I think and it's not about my career, but it's about throwing yourself to the point where you're a little uncomfortable, but that you can pivot. I love to fail fast. And it's all about staying true to who you are and knowing what your potential is. And I never want to be the smartest person in the room. So I've built a whole business around being like a King Arthur round table. So after Rosie, I went to a Wall Street Journal TV station for Dow Jones, and they were canceled after a year, and they said, oh my gosh, Erin, are you worried? And I'm like, I'm worried I'm going to eat 3 cheeseburgers, but I'm not worried that I'm going to, not find a job. I went back to my desk. The phone rang. It was Bill Getty. And he said, we're starting this show. He was my boss at Barbara Walters production company. And he said, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, the show just got canceled. And he's like, well, timing's great then, because I'm launching a show with Barbara. We're thinking about calling it The View. And so he's like, when can you start? I'm like, as a TV producer. So I was still willing to be uncomfortable, because when I left Bill, I still was like a kid, and I know I needed to keep building. So I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. I've made a whole career out of it. And I went to The View. I launched The View. I was there for many seasons. And then I had this idea to create a company that bridged the gap between the media and anybody who wanted to be in the media. And I've been doing that now for over 20 years. So I will work with clients individually. We'll do monthly campaigns. I do group to consulting. But all the while, my big goal for everybody is to push them a little bit outside of the box. Judy said, I know how to ask the right questions. I try to pull out the best DNA, best bone marrow from your brand. So many people make a mistake of, if they write a book, they throw it on the wall, 12 chapters, here you go. No, 12 chapters, it's 12 different marketing campaigns. I dare everyone to think outside the box, unleash your free spirit as an entrepreneur, and really just kind of try to slice your way through your brand, push yourself a little further, have your safety net, and you just keep pinging at it. And soon your professional universe expands. And it has not failed me yet in my career. It has not failed my clients. And I feel that I say this a lot, you never get off the highway. A lot of people work on a project. I'm from New Jersey, right? So we have so many rest stops. Everything is a rest stop. So you're driving on Garden State Parkway, you need gas, there's, back in the day, I'm 53. So back in the 70s and 80s, there was Roy Rogers, so you'd pull off and there was Roy Rogers, and you'd get like a beef and cheddar sandwich. You'd fill it up with whatever gas that cost $1 million, because it was the 70s and 80s, similar to now. And then you would get back on. I find entrepreneurs and authors and business people do the same thing. They all focus on this big launch or this big program or this big project, and then they relax, and then they go off. So I have one son. Imagine I gave birth to him and went, okay, that's done. No, your business is like your baby. You got to now raise this person. Same with your brand. So I don't want people getting off the highway. Forget the New Jersey rest stops. And I'm that girl from Jersey, right? I want you to stay on the highway and just switch lanes. That's all. If you want to take a little break, go in your slow lane, work the business that you have. You're starting to ramp up, think of ideas for the future, go into your middle lane. You're ready to launch, hang out in the fast lane. So basically, it's all about figuring out your way on the road, making yourself a little bit uncomfortable, having someone annoying like me or somebody in your life, a friend that can just outside poke at you to go, hey, did you think of da 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 da? And this way, you're never going to go on autopilot and go status quo. So that's my big soapbox moment. And we can expand on it as we take questions or anything like that. But that's what I always try to do to make myself have these big overcoming moments.
Oh my God, Erin, you make it sound so easy. And I think we all believe you. I love the fact you said with your accomplishments and what you have done with The View and Barbara Walters. And yes, you have had many extremely successful events and careers, which we all can say, wow, in awe. And you make it sound, we all can do it. Yes, we all can do it with the right attitude and what you have shared with us. Stay on your highway. Don't get off your highway. Keep on driving. Keep on believing in yourself and integrity. Oh my goodness. I loved it. Thank you. Thank you. Floor is open. Anybody wants to ask any questions to Erin? You can unmute yourself or raise your hands.
Yeah,
Judy
you can put it in the chat. Also, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat, and we can let Erin know what is in the chat.
I put on my readers.
We have many.
Erin, my name is Jacqueline, and I would like to ask you
members who.
Jacqueline had a question, Guinea.
Okay.
Erin, I really appreciate your analogy of the highway.
Okay.
So, and I've been in business for 47 years, so I guess I've been on the highway at various levels. I really appreciated what you were talking about. I would like for you to take a part of your business life and give us an example of how you did the highway. How when you shifted off, when you realized you had to do something, then show me the middle lanes and then show me the fast lane. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay. So when I left The View, I stayed in my left lane, and I just spread the word by I've done one mailer. I don't recommend this, but when I was at The View, I was thinking about getting onto the highway, and I collected all the letters of the pitches I received from publishers, PR firms, and I collected all the ones that weren't going to work. Like a bless your heart, you're never getting on The View. I'm going to take this. And then I pretty much in a super nice way wrote, once I left, in other words, I'm mailing you this. You've contacted me when I was a producer at The View. If you're receiving this letter, it means so, but I said it really nicely and I got my point across. And then that was me in my left lane. then that landed me the cover of PR Week, because no one in the media ever leaves to go to PR and marketing. Like, it's not sexy to just go the other way. So I did that. Then after a while, I was just living off the fat of the land. So I moved into the middle lane and I just worked on my clients. And then I would go into the right lane when things were on autopilot. So I've been in the right lane, being honest, of my company for, not meaning I'm not working on my clients, but I'm just saying as a business person for my, I'm not saying I'm always in the left lane for my clients when I work. I'm just talking about as my brand. I just want to make sure that I'm clear. So I've been in the right lane for the last many, many years because I can be, right? I'm making the money I need. I'm, doing all this. But lately, about maybe 6 months ago, I started going, I'm going too slow. My son just graduated high school. He's going off to play ice hockey. So I moved into the middle lane and I started thinking. Then I started going, you know what? I'm going to give a master class because of COVID. I haven't been out doing, like, I'm a paid speaker, right? I'm a paid public speaker, but I'm not doing that. I haven't. Then now I'm in the middle lane going, I should network out. I should get back in touch. But I need to get back out. I know I'm going to want to get on the fast lane with speaking, but I'm in the middle lane and I'm thinking. So then I also came up with an idea of a new way to do business, because there's only so many hours in a day. And the landscape of media, I feel, has changed a great deal. And you have, so to me, marketing, this is just a sidetrack, right? So marketing is the parent, in my opinion, right? And the marketing, let's say, is the mom. The mom had 3 children. Advertising's her firstborn. Public relations is her secondborn. And she thought she was done having babies. Then all of a sudden, years later, she gives birth unexpectedly. I guess it was a really fun night for marketing mom. She gives birth to social media. She had no idea she was going to be pregnant and have this. Now she's got this kid. Advertising the firstborn, so firstborn typical, very compliant. You know what you're doing. You pay for it. You expect to get back. True blue angel. PR, older, young 20s, late teens, still loves stirring the pot, right? And now all of a sudden they're all done. But now they have got this baby sister where you can't even walk away because she might jump in the pool. You definitely can't run into the store and you can't. You got to bring this kid with you, or you're epically going to be thrown in jail, thrown in business jail. I hope everyone's seeing where I'm going with the metaphor. So for me, my middle lane is starting to think about the mom in marketing, right? When I go into the left lane, I'm utilizing all 3 daughters to help amplify whatever I came up with in my middle lane. So when I was in the middle lane, I created a new program because I want to help people. Because, so an average PR retainer is anywhere from $3,000 to, let's say, $25,000 for just like an agency. I don't mean like a big national firm. So like my billable hour is awesome, but I'm leaving so many people behind. And that's what I started thinking about in the slow lane. Like, I don't know if I really want to keep doing what I'm doing. Is it sustainable? And with the media and marketing and social media and advertising landscaping always changing, I would rather help like one to many than take a $10,000 a month retainer and feel badly if it didn't garner the results that they felt they deserved. There's a huge disconnect between what you think you deserve and what you're really good enough for. And that's bad. Everyone thinks they've got a pretty baby. I've seen really ugly babies. I'm just being honest. You all have too, and you know it, right? So when I was, Jacqueline, when I was in the slow lane, I started getting like bored. So I moved into the middle lane. I created a group to meet a group consulting. I'm meeting with them once a week. I do an hour onboarding. That's already $1,000 because that's what I bill out. So now suddenly I'm able to help all these people. I'm no longer in the slow lane. So I feel good about myself. I'm helping people. And suddenly I care. So now I'm in the fast lane and now I'm promoting that. I guess inadvertently I just did here, which really is an awesome fast lane thing, though this was not planned, though I will send you a Starbucks gift card now for lobbing that one over the plate for me. Does that make sense? Does everybody feel like they
It really makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense, Erin.
Okay.
Last year, I realized that I've been doing my business for many years. I've changed it many times. It's like I've had maybe 6 or 7 different businesses in my life, or maybe more than that, because I have about 3 businesses, period. But anyway, what happened to me is I think I was in the slow lane and I was getting really bored. And I went on LinkedIn and I found a company and I started listening to what they wanted to do. And I thought, that's something I need to do because I've never done that before. And I have a PhD, and it was the hardest bloody course I've ever taken in my entire life. And so from March of 2022 to March of 2023, I did not have a weekend. I was watching videos. I was learning new materials. I was learning about marketing and sales I hadn't even thought about before, and finance and all that. And it's not, and I have a PhD in counseling psychology. So what you're saying is, I don't want to get in, and this is my question for you. I don't want to get in the slow lane and stay there and be happy and in mediocrity. I want to get to move. You want me on the highway. You want me moving to the middle lane and to the fast lane. And so you've just given me a great analogy to live through something I'm doing right now with a fast lane thing, because I've got a huge project that's coming up in 7 weeks. And we got have about 200 and something people there, and it ain't working yet. So I got it. And I appreciate the analogy.
But I want to
Thank you.
No, my pleasure. And thanks for the question. So I'm okay with people in the slow lane. If it's going great, stay in the slow lane, enjoy time with friends and family. I mean, I don't think being in the slow lane isn't bad. What's bad is pulling off the highway and parking your car in the rest stop. As long as you're all on the highway, I'm a happy girl. So stay in your slow lane if it's working for you. I stayed in my slow lane for 17 years. I won awards in the slow lane, right? I booked crazy keynotes in the slow lane. The slow lane it's bad because what we're associating it with, but this it's just a bad driving metaphor. Stay in the slow lane. It's okay. I mean, I would love to imagine your passive streams of income. You're making $5 million a month and you're in the slow lane. I call that a win. I'm not making $5 million, but right. So it's a win if everyone stays on the highway. The only time we're getting off the highway is, God forbid, we're going the highway to heaven. And at that point, I would love for somebody else to have a legacy model. So your family takes over the business or whatever, but I'm not a financial person, so I can't talk to that. But you know what I'm saying? The only way I want you to get off the highway is if you're going to that highway. If you're going to that highway, I appreciate that. Call me because I'm interested by you.
Well, I'm getting it very clear now. I'm not seeing the slow lane is bad, but I can tell you, I think I was sitting off the highway. And so in March, I got the call and I did what was needed to move from the middle lane to the fast lane. And I am much happier with this additional business that I added to the one I already have. Yeah. Awesome. And I want to support something with your daughters, because to me, if you're not in social media, I've just hired a new great guy to do my social media in the last 3 months. And it's just made a tremendous difference. I had the wrong person and I went through 7 people to find them. Yeah. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. And we need to move on because we want to get to our networking portion. Mark, you had a question. You have your hand raised.
Yes. Erin, just really quickly, I wanted to ask you, referred a number of times to moments when you didn't feel comfortable in your own skin. How did you work through those?
Oh my gosh. I'm in the middle of writing a book about it. The book's called Chasing Pretty, The Day the Fat Lady Stopped Singing. And it's a gut wrenching, it's difficult, but suffice to say, I have done so much work with scientists, sages, psychologists. I got into the nitty gritty of it. I figured out that I was kind of just on autopilot, and I would eat my way through any type of decision making. And I gained and lost 100 pounds even after a gastric sleeve. So I had like double dates with like the demons in my head, and no one's worse at the self-talk than me. So I absolutely am comfortable in my skin now, but I'm still very vulnerable with it. And I don't want to change that part about me. I just needed to sit there and be present. And now, instead of eating my way through a heartache or a frustrating moment in business, I sit with it, and it's painful. I'm not going to lie, but I'm not gaining weight. And then when I stopped eating, I then thought I conquered it, but I then started noticing all these Amazon packages on my front step and realized I was just online shopping. Instead of eating, I was doing this. So then I had to put my phone down. So Mark, the struggle is real, my friend, but that's pretty much, it's taken me a few years, but I'm now down 100 pounds. It's never coming back on my body. I feel like a completely different person inside. So that's what I did.
Thank you, Erin. And Dr. Joy, you had a question too.